Hello, welcome to another video from EarnPED.com. I am StevieB. Hope you are all doing well. I am here at Terminus getting the Broken Parts mission in DSEC 9. Going out doing some hunting, skilling up before Merry Mayhem, trying to find some armor parts so I can eventually, someday, many years from now, have a perfected set of armor. So guys, first off the bat, before I really get started with the video, if you come to DSEC 9 and you're doing some hunting, and you loot male armor parts and you need female armor parts, I have a thread over on the virtualsense.eu forum where I am trading the female armor parts I loot for male armor parts other people loot, because obviously I need male and there's a lot of people that need female. So if you get male armor parts here in DSEC 9, I need them, and if you need female parts, I have some for trade. Currently I've got 2 set of foot guards and a set of thigh guards, I believe. So jumping right into the video today, first things first, I want to thank everybody who's participated in the RK0 competition and the special competition. We've had a lot of people participating, a lot of people helping us out, and I really do appreciate it. I am going to have to temporarily suspend both competitions. So if you've been participating in the RK0 or the special competition, I am having to temporarily suspend both of them. Reason being is, A, I've got a new job I'm getting ready to start in about a week. I'm going to be working nights, and I don't know how much of my time I'm going to be able to really commit to EU during the day until I get my sleep schedule turned around. Part of the reason I took this job was because of the schedule. It will allow me to continue to play EU, run the EarnPED.com website, post videos when most of my viewers are around, that kind of stuff, but obviously there's going to be an adjustment period. Number 2, we've got the holidays coming up, and with Merry Mayhem coming up, it usually lasts over a month. That is going to take an extreme amount of my time, as I plan to run pretty much 24/7. The only time I won't be running will be when I'm at work, and when I'm at work, my dog will be running for me. She's got this cute little headset, and she knows how to press F with her paw. It's really cute. So Merry Mayhem coming up is also going to be an issue. And then, of course, we have the holidays, which is time for friends and family. And hopefully, sometime in Q1 of 2022, I'll be able to restart the competition. That's what I'm hoping. The competition has done what I wanted it to do in the real world to an extent. It has not been the extent that I was hoping for. However, it did prove my theory correct. It did help with what I was wanting it to help with. So I will not be suspending it indefinitely. This is more of just a temporary suspension while I've got a whole lot on my plate. Part of the reason for that, guys, is I want to be as faithful to you as you guys are to me. And if there's something that I'm having trouble keeping up with, even if it's helping me, I would rather just temporarily shut it down and then restart it later. So I'm going to be temporarily suspending the RK0 competition and the special competition as of today. I will be coming back to Planet Calypso from DSEC 9 probably later today. I've got a restock on guns and amps to keep skilling. And when I do, I'm going to be paying some EarnPED.com withdrawals. I'm also going to be giving out some of those RK0s. If you have entered the RK0 competition prior to now, you will be getting at least one RK0. If you have been doing the special competition, I will be getting you guys settled up sometime in the next 24 to 48 hours. So that is my goal anyway. So if you have been participating in either competition and in the next 24 to 48 hours you do not hear from me, please shoot me a private message in game. Now that brings up something else. A lot of people are telling me that for some reason they can't find me in the user register. That is because of how I had my privacy settings set. I have tried to undo it, and for some reason the system is just locked on me, and I just don't show up in the user register, and I also don't show up as online. It shows that I haven't been online in 100+ days, like I'm still incognito when I'm not. So I don't know what the problem is with that. If you guys can't find me, try and shoot my ex-girlfriend a message, because she still logs in a lot to help me out. Her name in game is Princess Hafsalot. So you can usually find her at Twin Peaks. You can usually find her in Cali Trade, but her name is Princess Hafsalot Miracle Promise. And you can always get a hold of her, or you can get a hold of Green Toker, or you can get a hold of Michael Stewart. Any of those guys can get you my personal link. Princess usually is trying to help me sell stuff, trying to help me do some trading when she's on. Toker's around a lot. He's part of the society. Pretty much, I am not a hard person to track down. If you just ask in Rookie Chat or Cali Trade for my avatar link, somebody's probably going to give it to you. So if you guys are having any trouble getting a hold of me in-game, Those are probably the best ways to do it. Is if you can't get a hold of me directly, just ask for my avatar link either in Rookie Chat, Cali Trade, whatever, or if you're at Twin Peaks, stop by and see Princess Hopsalot if she's there. If you can find Green Toker, or if you can find Michael Stewart or any of the other peeps that are in game, I'm pretty easy to find. So feel free to shoot me a private message if you need to withdraw from EarnPED.com. You can also email me directly if you're having problems getting a hold of me in game at sbraggs62@gmail.com. That's SBRAGGS62@gmail.com. And I promise you, if you email me, I will see it. It might take me a day or two, but I will see it and I will get back to you. So if you absolutely cannot get my avatar link in game, just get a hold of me via email, guys. So that said, let's move right on to the focus of today's video. We have Treasure Island shares coming out December 1st. I was not aware of this until yesterday because I have literally been skilling around the clock getting ready for Merry Mayhem. I'm trying to get up to Category 9. I highly doubt it's going to happen. However, that is my goal, is to be at least Category 7, probably 8 come Merry Mayhem. I would really like to be Category 9. Category 10 is not going to happen. Category 9, the mobs are level like 43, 45, something like that. Category 10, they're level 83. So there's a huge jump between Categories 9 and 10. Excuse me, guys. So that said, I've been doing a lot of skilling, but we do have Treasure Island shares coming out. So let me back up and talk a little bit about the history of Treasure Island. I want to talk about the similarities and the differences to Crystal Palace and the CP shares that we had come out a couple years ago. And then we'll kind of go from there. So Treasure Island was the first land area ever sold to a player inside of Entropia universe. It was a historical moment for EU because it was the first time that a player was able to generate revenue from the game other than hunting, mining, or crafting. It was the first time that you could really have passive income, so to say, right? Now, I don't know which came first, Treasure Island or Calypso Landings. I think it was Treasure Island. This was way before my time. So at the time, it set a world record because Treasure Island was bought by Deathifier for $25,000, 250,000 PED. And Deathifier made his money back many, many, many times over. Now, Deathifier was a player who was up there with the likes of Never Die whenever it came to setting world records and such. And it was mainly because of Treasure Island. And it was a place that people like to go to hunt. It was a place that he really did well with. And for some reason, and I know there's a lot of players that have been here longer than me that know a lot more of the intimate details of this than I do, but let's just say Deathifier and Mindark essentially had a falling out. And if I am correct in where I'm getting my information, there was some lawsuits filed and some litigation. I don't know all the details. I wish I did, because it would make this a lot easier to understand. But needless to say, Treasure Island was not properly taken care of for a very long time. Now, Treasure Island is on Planet Calypso. It's down on the other continent with all the land areas, right? I've been there. It has been a very, very long time since I've been there, because it was not really something I was super keen on exploring at the time. And again, it wasn't really being kept up. Now, Deathifier also got his hands on an egg at one point, and I know this is kind of a murky story, but essentially the egg passed hands. I think Never Die had it at one point. It was like a competition prize, and it was supposed to contain some kind of a unique creature. It was a long mess of a story. You can find it somewhere if you look hard enough. Anyway, long story short, the land areas really hadn't been taken care of. They didn't have any events going. There wasn't a lot of reason to go to them. And just kind of out of the blue, somebody mentioned to me the other day, hey, they're going to have Treasure Island shares. So my assumption is that the litigation between Deathifier and Mindark has been completed. That there was some kind of an agreement reached, and essentially Mindark has more or less taken control of Treasure Island, and instead of just selling it off as a land area, they're going to sell it off using the new share system. And this is not a bad thing, necessarily. Let me read you guys the actual statement that Mindark released about Treasure Island, because I want to go through this point by point with you, because there's some nuances in here that you guys are going to want to know. So if you Google Entropia Treasure Island, I'm just doing this on my phone real quick while I've got you guys here. It's the second one down on Google. So on Wednesday, December 1st at 1100 UTC, the shares will become available for purchase. They're going to be 10 PED each, same as the Crystal Palace shares. However, there's going to be 800,000 shares, which is 300,000 more than for Crystal Palace. It's going to be called New Treasure Island, and it's 64 square kilometers of land area. Okay? Here's the nuance. Deed revenue represents 50% of Planet Calypso's planet partner revenue from all activity on New Treasure Island. Let me read that again. Deed revenue represents 50% of Planet Calypso's planet partner revenue from all activity on New Treasure Island. So here's what I'm taking from that. Somehow in the litigation that got resolved, MindArk doesn't own the deed to Treasure Island outright. Instead, Planet Calypso is the planet partner. So who their planet partners with, I do not know. I'm assuming Deathifier. I'm assuming this is a way to cash Deathifier out. So from the way I read that, deed revenue represents 50% of Planet Calypso's planet partner revenue. So the deeds, the revenue for the deeds, is going to be half of Planet Calypso's revenue as a planet partner. So not necessarily 50% of 100% of the revenue. 50% of their share of 100% of the revenue. Now, what is their share? That I don't know. Dividends will be distributed on Monday, 1 PEC per deed minimum. If it's less than a PEC, it will be carried over, just like all others. There will no longer be any land area taxes for activity on New Treasure Island. So Deathifier did have it set at a tax rate for hunting and mining, because that's how land area owners used to make money, and they're doing away with that. So there will be money generated from hunting, I'm assuming, in the form of like the loot. And this is where I'm kind of confused here. If it's not a taxed land area, because like Crystal Palace and Arcadia Underground are taxed, right? So if it's not a taxed land area, where's the revenue coming from? I would assume from decay on the weapons, decay on the amps that are used hunting on that area, and auction fees and repair fees. That would be my assumption. However, I'm kind of fuzzy on that, because it's not going to be a percentage of the loot like it would be if there was taxes on it. And again, it's not 50% of 100%, it's 50% of Planet Calypso's planet partner revenue. So 50% of whatever stake Planet Calypso has in this treasure island. So, keep going. Let's take the nuance aside here. They should become tradable between players sometime in first quarter 2022. Now, let's get to the actual creatures, because this is important. And I'm going to butcher these names horribly. Alafel, the little electric frog, Bristlehog, Corn Dogs, Cornicunda, Astafel, Fowl, Friscocuda. Man, they've got some weird names in this game. Fur, Globster, Hyru, Hoglo, Curbs, Letomi, Robots, Drone, Minerbot, Second Entity, Trooper, Warrior, Sea Creatures, Calypso Cod, Leviathan, Razortooth, Ripper Snapper, Sonic Squid, Extraterrestrial Creatures, subject to change, Cornetarian, and Displater, something like that. Okay, so looking at the mobs, the reason I like the mobs is there's a little bit of everything in here. There's stuff for lower level players, there's stuff for higher level players. You've got everything from Fowl to Hoglo to Displatter, however you say it. So there's a little bit of everything. You've got regular mobs, you've got drones and robots, you've got sea creatures. So you've got a little bit of everything for a little bit of everyone, which is good as far as the things that you want to have on your land area, right? This also means if people own these shares, they're more likely to go hunt on the land area where their shares are generating revenue for them. Regardless of whether or not they're making money, losing money, they're at least getting a little bit of that back. So there's a lot of people that will buy these shares that will actually go hunt here just because they own the share, which is a good thing. Looking at the list, Second Entity under Robots, that is a unique mob that's going to be unique to Treasure Island. Globster is a unique mob that's going to be unique to Treasure Island. And Minerbot is a unique mob that's going to be unique to Second Island. Now, I've never hunted Globster or Second Entity. I have hunted Minerbot. And the reason I've hunted Minerbot and the reason I like them, you can shoot them from far away and it takes them a little while to get to you. But the other thing is, it's one of the very few mobs that actually drops mining ore and in matter as loot. So Minerbot is one of the only mobs that I'm aware of that whenever you kill it, it can actually drop Blessarium or Azurite. It'll drop ores in the loot, so you don't even have to go mining. Now, is that always super advantageous? Not necessarily, because that's stuff that you could pretty easily go mine anyway. However, if you're needing to do some hunting, needing to do some codex skilling, needing to get other things that those mobs drop anyway, and you have a specific need for those specific ores that the miner bot drops, it can be handy. It's come in handy once or twice for me. In fact, I was just thinking the other day I need to go hunt some miner bots because there's a very specific ore I need to get, and it would just be easier to farm it from miner bots than it would be to run around and just drop mining probes all over willy-nilly and end up with a bajank load of mining loot that I don't need to get the little bit that I do need, right? So the question is, how is this similar and different from Crystal Palace? Well, a couple of ways. So first of all, with Crystal Palace, we didn't have a land area that had been neglected for years like Treasure Island has been. We had a land area that had been profitable for years. And Crystal Palace had a long history of profitability. The only reason Buzz was selling it was because things had changed in his life. He didn't have as much time to dedicate to the game. His kids were getting older. And the reason they created the share exchange in the first place was simply due to the massive price. There was regulatory issues. They had never intended for it to really trade hands. So the share exchange solved a lot of those problems. So the thing is, with Crystal Palace, there was month over month, year over year profitability and growth. There was also a reason to go to Crystal Palace. The mobs were unique. You can't find those mobs anywhere else in game. In addition, it had a mission where you had to kill a whole lot of those mobs, which generated a whole lot of revenue, in order to access a cave which had more mobs in it that you wanted to kill because they had rare loot. And again, these mobs are unique to Crystal Palace. That is why Crystal Palace has always been popular. It is one of the reasons it will always be popular. We don't have that with Treasure Island. We don't have a proven land area with a track record of profitability. We don't have month over month, year over year profitability with a whole bunch of unique mobs that drop super rare unique loot with good markup and good demand. We just don't have that. What we have is the opposite. We have a land area that was once profitable long ago that has been neglected, that does have some unique mobs on them. However, they don't really have unique loot. They don't have rare loot that is going to be in extremely high demand and have extremely high markup. It just has a lot of mobs for a lot of different players, and the hope is that if you own Treasure Island shares, you will go hunt there because you simply own those shares. So, is it as good as Treasure Island? I highly doubt it. I highly, highly doubt it. Are the shares going to be in as demand as Treasure Island or as CP? I highly doubt it. Are they going to generate the revenue CP shares generate? I highly, 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 highly doubt it. So will I be buying? That I have yet to see. So here's the reason. Overall, am I a fan? Kinda not. I think the 800,000 shares is a ridiculously high valuation, especially considering that it's 50% of the Planet partner revenue, and we don't even know what percentage of the total revenue that is, nor are we really 1,000% sure how that's calculated. So I think the valuation is extremely, extremely high, which will make the dividends extremely, extremely low. The other thing is, we don't know how much activity there's going to be on this land area since it hasn't been really taken care of in years, so therefore we don't really have a way to gauge going into it what kind of revenue to expect long term. Could be like the ancient Greece shares when they very first came out. There was a lot of revenue because a lot of people were buying the shares and going there and really farming it up, and then it just kind of dropped off to zero because it became the Ubers hanging out, just farming the instance where they get the serpent scales and the upgradable armor. So the revenue kind of dropped to zero, right? So it could be that. What's really going to tell the potential profitability of these shares, the one thing I want you guys to look at, the one thing I will be looking at, is the speed at which they sell, the velocity of the initial IPO for these shares. So the reason I say that is this. That will tell you everything, because I'm relying on people smarter than me. I'm relying on people who've played longer than me, smarter than me, that are looking at it through a different lens than me, right? So with Crystal Palace shares, there was 500,000 shares. They sold out in under 48 hours. Under 48 hours. It was something like 42 hours, all 500,000 shares were gone. They were just flying off the shelf. And as a result, what do we have? We have a share that the price is now over 18 ped a share. and that generates good revenue every single week, right? Okay, now let's compare that to the ancient Greece shares. They sold at a horribly slow pace. There was no sales velocity. I don't think, broke 100,000 shares sold for something like 6 months. And then they had to come out and more or less cut the shares in half after that. So you could tell right away there was just not a lot of demand. Not a lot of players were jumping on it. There were some people who were buying it just to buy it. There were some people who were doing it just because they didn't know any better, and to them a share is a share. But there was not a huge amount of smart money moving into it, right? It wasn't like people were throwing 20, 30,000 shares at a time, just trying to scoop them all up. We did have that with Crystal Palace, rightfully so. So when Treasure Island shares hit, I'll be able to tell you guys within about 12 to 18 hours how successful they're going to be or not. If Treasure Island shares start flying off the shelf and we see 300,000 shares sold in the first day, I'm going to be buying left and right. Rightfully so, as everybody should. However, if we see that out of the 800,000 shares in the first 2 days, only 60,000 shares sell, I'm not even going to bother. That's what's going to determine where this is going to go, because there's either going to be a lot of interest from high-level players or there's not. There's either going to be a lot of money flowing into these shares or there's not. And if the money's not going to be flowing into the shares for people to snatch them up, the revenue is most likely just not going to be there. Now, what do I expect? Unfortunately, I expect the latter. I don't expect them to sell quickly at all. I think we're probably going to see between 40 to 60,000 shares sold in the first 3 days. And I think it's going to be a repeat of ancient Greece, quite honestly. I think it's going to be one of those things that they will sell slightly better than ancient Greece. I assume that by the end of the first 30 days, there will probably be 150,000-ish shares sold, but they're going to be far from sold out. I think it's going to be a repeat of ancient Greece, because while we do have unique mobs, like I said, not unique loot, not high demand, not high markup, these aren't mobs people are dying to go farm to get into somewhere else to farm something else. So while there is a little bit of everything for everybody, it's just not going to be Crystal Palace worthy levels of excitement. It's just apples and oranges. Crystal Palace was like me saying, here's a gas station. It's been profitable every month for 10 years. I'm willing to sell it at roughly market value. And, I mean, obviously everybody would jump on that, right? Treasure Island shares are going to be like saying, hey, here's a gas station. 8 years ago, it made money every single month whenever my boy Bob used to own it. But when Bob owned it, he got into it with the people that he bought the land from, and it ended up in court. So it's been sitting here closed for the past 8 years. But luckily, that's all resolved now, so we're going to open it back up so we can sell this used to be highly profitable gas station to you at a valuation of, probably 3 times what it was worth back in the day. That's where I see this headed. So, unfortunately, I don't have high hopes. Like I said, if I'm wrong, if I'm proven wrong and these shares just start flying out the window and I see 300,000 shares sold in the first 24 to 48 hours, I'll probably be buying, because that means I'm missing something. However, what I expect is I'm going to see closer to probably 60,000 shares in the first 3 days, maybe 75,000, somewhere in there, in which case I'm not going to be wasting the money. So that being said, that's where I wanted to get you guys caught up to today. We do have a lot more to talk about. I will be making another video later today, I hope, giving you guys more info on what we found out about the Gold Rush fiasco so far, and talking about other things that are going on in game. In that video, I will probably also be mentioning some things that I'm going to be trying to liquidate over the next couple of weeks. Some of the stuff will be good for higher level players, some will be good for lower level players. But I want to let you guys know, because obviously I don't want you guys to miss a chance to get your hands on some stuff if you want it. So that video will be coming later today. For now, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. That's kind of my thoughts on Treasure Island. Let me know what you guys think about the Treasure Island shares down in the comments. Will you be buying? Will you not be buying? Is there something that you see about Treasure Island that I am missing? Let me know all that down in the comments, and we'll be back with more content for you guys later today. Please feel free to go over to EarnPED.com, because when you earn, we earn. That is the best way you guys can help support us. And like I said, if you guys ever need a withdrawal, if you ever have a question, if you ever can't get a hold of me in game, just shoot me an email at sbraggs62@gmail.com. SBRAGGS62@gmail.com. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. We'll see you with another video real soon. Take care, Stevies.